Okay, so this is a Walkman, but why does this even exist in 2024? Well, let's get into it. First of all, this is not a new device. It's been out in the market for quite a while, and it's one of the most premium ones Sony has ever launched. I like it a lot regarding the nostalgia, regarding the materials. It actually feels quite premium. The specs on it are a little bit outdated if you were to compare it to maybe to a smartphone, but it's not actually supposed to be compared to a smartphone. It's not its purpose. Its sole purpose is to play music. And what do you get out of this when you play music? Well, you get two jacks. You get a 4.5 balance, which is pretty nice if you have that type of headphones. And you also get a 3.5 knob balance, which is what most people have in their homes, and as well as traditional headphones. So it's not bad. It can also work as a dedicated DAC, which I do think is out of the purpose, and I'm going to tell you why in a bit more. But you can connect it to your phone or to your computer and then get the music out of there and then listen it through the device and use it as a DAC. It works quite well and is pretty seamless when you're using it. But the reason I actually think this is without a purpose is because the audio on this thing is way better than any phone I've ever tried before. I'm not talking about other DAPs, I'm only talking about phones. This is way better than any other phone out in the market, at least the ones I've tried. So I don't think anybody's gonna use this as a DAC, but maybe I'm wrong. Drop me a comment below if you will use it maybe as a DAC. Now inside we have an operating system with Android, but don't get excited. This is Android 11. As I told you, this is not a new device. And it's pretty outdated. It's slow, it's laggy if you're using any type of applications. If you're using music like maybe Tidal, Spotify, or Qobos, I mean, please don't use Spotify because it's not the purpose to play music with the quality of Spotify on this. Maybe use something like Tidal or Qobos and you will get the most out of it, or even transfer your files from a legit source. I mean, you paid for those files, right? Yeah, you can transfer them through an SD card and have them on the device, or you can play them through the SD card and not use the internal storage, which is actually of 128 gigs, which is not bad considering you're only going to use this for music, because I don't recommend use it for absolutely anything else. Yes, it has a Play Store. Yes, it has Android, but it will lag as hell if you put anything else on it if it's not music. Another cool detail on this, it actually has dedicated buttons for playing, for pausing, as well as for volume up and other things you would use only for music. It's only made for music. I know, it looks like a phone, but it's not. So pretty cool because you can lock the screen and only use these buttons. For example, like if you're in the street, you're at the gym, or you're doing any type of activity. Because yes, you can also connect devices through Bluetooth, and it is compatible with the LDAC codec that actually belongs to Sony, which makes sense. And it's pretty cool because I did take it to the gym, and it's pretty practical not having to use your phone. Considering that right now iOS has a lot of issues with battery life, I do prefer to have a dedicated player. So again, deeply appreciate it, and I can find a spot where to have a dedicated player in 2024. But I don't know, would you guys still use your phone, or would you go with something like this? I like the idea of this a little bit more after trying it a couple of weeks. Another thing I forgot to mention is that the USB-C type port is also OTG, which means you can connect any type of device to it. Like for example, another DAC if you wanted to. I don't find the sense in that, but you could if you wanted to. Or even headphones. I just recently got a pair of IMs that have a USB-C type port on them, and I could use them with this, which is pretty cool. So you're not only stuck to the ports on the top, you can use modern devices on it, which is odd because again, this is not a new device. Now, audio quality, what do you get out of this bad boy? Well, the audio quality is insane. It is pretty good, a lot more clear than you would find in any other device. It is way cleaner than any smartphone like I mentioned previously, and I simply think it's premium, as well as everything on this device. The materials, the screen, everything feels premium on it, especially the ports on the top. Those feel exceptional and feel like they're gonna last quite a bit, even if you put in or out your headphones all the time. Yeah, it's gonna last quite a bit, pun intended. But there is a couple of downsides to this. First of all, let's talk about the battery life. How much battery can you get out of this bad boy? Well, you can get about 18 hours of continuous playing, but those 18 hours apply to external apps. For example, if you play on Tidal, you play on Qobos, that's the maximum you're gonna get. But Sony says that if you play them on their dedicated app called Walkman, where you have to load the music on it, you can get up to 40 hours of continuous playing. That's true, but only if you play MP3s. Don't buy this device if you're going to be playing MP3s. It makes no sense. You're going to get this because you're playing FLAC, DSD, or any type of lossless audio. And if you do play those, you're going to get from 18 up to 40. And that depends on the volume and of how good the file is and how demanding it is. If you have a DSD file, you're going to get about 18 hours, which is pretty comparable to the app. So again, battery life is okay. It will last you most likely all day if you play music. If you go on a long flight, you probably won't have any issues. You go to the gym, probably a couple of days, no issues whatsoever. The only downside is that it takes 4.5 hours to charge. That is extremely low. We actually measured it with a special power bank we had, and we can see that it only charges up to 12 watts as maximum, which is to be expected. Again, it's not a new device. Take into account it has Android 11. Don't try to use it for anything else. It will become slow. Don't download Facebook, don't download TikTok, don't download Instagram. Although you can technically because it does have Android, it goes to hell. It becomes laggy, slow, and loses all the purpose. Just get it for music. How much do you have to pay to have this bad boy as your personal player? Well, you do have to pay a premium price. It is not cheap. How much is that? Well, depending where you live, it goes in the official Sony store from about $99. Yes, $1,000 for a music player, for having a dedicated music player. What you would pay for an iPhone or other premium cell phones on the market. So yes, it's not for everybody. It's a very specific niche product. And I do think it is cool. If I had an extra $1,000 after having everything else I need, yeah, I might pay it. I think the audio quality is excellent, and I do like the experience of having an external dedicated audio player. But what do you guys think? Do you like it? If you do, I will drop a link below on the description where you can find it. But I don't know, pretty expensive. If you're looking for another option, well, then maybe check this video out over here. And also drop a like and maybe subscribe. Helps us out quite a bit.